They're off to find their new universities. They've graduated from high school. An exciting time in young adults' lives. After all, we all remember going off to college. Who among us doesn't remember our first day at college, learning about the 78 genders, lining up based on our skin color, and being told that if you're white, you're privileged, and if you're not, then somehow you've been victimized by the white kid that you never met before. He was assigned as your dorm mate. You know, college. Oh, what? That's not what college was like for you? Yeah, me neither. I'm a millennial, but the millennials are getting old now. We're, I guess we're middle-aged. Isn't that weird? Millennials are middle-aged. And the kids in college right now, their lives are very, very different. On this radio show, we've discussed many times which of the many universities in Texas, and there are so many of them, is the most liberal. I mean, once upon a time, A&M was considered to be the most conservative college in the country as far as publicly funded universities went. All right, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it used to be sort of the conservative response to the liberal UT. Now A&M has gone woke. And of course, UT's always been woke. University of Houston, same thing, you know about it. But there's a little spot up in North Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area to be exact, called the University of North Texas. Not just a clever name, that's exactly where it is. And the University of North Texas is publicly funded. I think is it by Denton? Is that where it's at? College Town over there, and a public research university. And it seems to be ground zero in the state of Texas for some of the weirdest leftist culture wars you've ever seen. You remember a while back, there was a guy named Jeffrey Younger. He was running for state rep, and I think him and his wife got into a contentious divorce in which his ex-wife decided to get his child a transgender operation, and he didn't like that, or gender-affirming care, whatever they call it. And he went and spoke at the University of North Texas. A lot of you have seen this video of him standing in front of a classroom while a bunch of women dressed like men scream at him at the top of their lungs. I guess apparently that's the way you have a debate when you don't have anything substantive to say. We have new information about something going on at the University of North Texas that most people don't know about. In fact, I think it's safe to say, at least here in this city, on broadcast radio, we're about to break a news story. My friend Matt Lamb is the associate editor of thecollegefix.com. Now, if you've never been to thecollegefix.com before, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a news outlet about what's happening in academia around the country from a conservative perspective, and all of the highlighted examples of weird, bizarre culture war, the leftist culture war taking place. It's Marxism. It's cultural Marxism. And of course, it being Pride Month and all, you know, they're going all in on the they-thems. Matt, it's my understanding there's a closet at the University of Texas that some of the students there are very excited to come out of. And that means two things. Would you tell us about it?
Yeah, so at the University of North Texas, they have a gender-affirming closet that's run by the school's Pride Alliance, which is within the school's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, all the normal terms. And they will actually give students for free chest binders. So if you're a woman who wants to bind your breasts so you look more like a man, you can get these chest binders. They also have something called Packers, which honestly I didn't even know what it was until my student turned in the article. But it essentially is, I don't want you to get fined, fake genitalia that women put in their underwear to look more like men. I think your listeners can probably extrapolate what we're talking about.
You know what's funny about that, Matt? There's two conservative news stations in Houston that iHeartMedia owns because, you know, this is Texas. Talk radio is very popular in Texas. There are 4 other news talk stations in the city that we compete with. And of the 2 that we have, this is the station where you're allowed to say prosthetic penis. Go ahead, my man. Enjoy.
All right, great. Well, so yeah, basically it's a prosthetic penis that you can
You hesitated, Matt. You didn't want to say penis. I get it. It's weird saying it on the radio. I don't blame you. But these are the weirdos. Don't feel bad about it, Matt. You did nothing wrong. It's their fault.
Great. Yeah, now my kids are going to find this clip in 20 years or something. But anyways, so this goes on in the University of North Texas. The one thing that might happen is if Governor Greg Abbott signs the anti-DEI bill, Senate Bill 17, which is on his desk, it could possibly eliminate government funding for programs like this Pride Alliance closet, which basically encourage people to cross-dress or present themselves as the opposite sex.
Yeah, okay. You explained that quite clearly. So the closet is filled with chest binders and packers, which are basically just fake penises. And again, publicly funded university. I mean, look, there's billions of dollars in the Texas economy. It's really hard to tell, but it is very unsettling for me, Matt, to think that when I write a check to the government for things like property tax, sales tax, you get how these things work, that's where the money's going.
Absolutely. Well, I live in Indiana, and I fund plenty of crazy abortion and transgender stuff too, apparently through Indiana University, although we no longer fund the Kinsey Institute. So that was a big victory. You can get top surgery pillows here, which is basically, I think, like if you have the top surgery, it's like a pillow that makes you more comfortable. And what the staffers say is that they'll help you with anything you need in showing you around the closet. So I don't know if that means like if you need help trying on the clothes or something. The whole thing just seems very weird to me that government staffers are helping individuals cross-dress and put on fake breasts or bind their breasts or use fake penises and all this. But it's being paid for with your taxpayer dollars, which I know, Kenny, you probably pay most of the income taxes in Texas with your income from being a radio host.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't even believe. Yeah, it's absolutely, money just falls from the sky in broadcast terrestrial media. But, I guess I'd have to see it to really understand. But the fact that they hide all this stuff in a closet, it sounds so nefarious and sneaky. And is there like a sign out in front of the office? Do people know what's going on in there?
Yeah, I think you go up and you ask to be shown the closet. I mean, I'm being serious about that part and joking about that there's like some password. In some ways, I guess I'm glad it's sort of hidden, so it's not out there and being promoted. On the other hand, the fact it's sort of hidden probably tells you that they know there's something weird about it, because typically you don't hide things that you want lots of people to know about.
Right.
You can go check it out if you want, but I mean, just watch your back, so to speak.
All right. So you mentioned the Kinsey Institute before in Indiana, and it feels like, this is an appropriate time to have a conversation about that. A lot of people in Texas probably don't even know what that is. It doesn't affect us. It doesn't affect our elections or anything, but that has something to do with the equivalent of this at the Indiana University in Bloomington. Is that right?
Right. So Alfred Kinsey was this researcher into sex and homosexuality that he interviewed prisoners to establish, this baseline for homosexuality and sexual activity. He interviewed people about like their fantasies about babies and all this stuff. And so Indiana University houses this center. It's one of those quasi like public-private things, but they give them space. And the state defunded it. What's interesting to note is that the Democratic state rep, I believe his name is Matt Pierce, who represents Bloomington, said, "Oh, this is QAnon stuff. This is conspiracy theories." But I actually remember learning about Alfred Kinsey and how he was controversial in like my high school AP advanced placement psychology class. I mean, I think Alfred Kinsey's work and the controversy around it, at least, only 10 or 15 years ago when I was in high school, was taught in kind of a standard psychology textbook because it was so controversial.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very bizarre. This isn't the guy that Matt Walsh mentions in that documentary he did, What is a Woman, is it?
I think Kinsey is mentioned, but John Money is the other one. If you know about John Money, he was one of the first ones to experiment on kids with these transgender drugs and surgery.
Yeah, that's the guy, right? Yeah, dude, weird stuff, man. People need to watch that documentary. You've seen it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you can actually watch it for free now if you go on Twitter. They were throttling it, and then Elon Musk stepped in, and then he promoted it. So if you go to Twitter and you just look up any of the Daily Wire hosts or just search it, you can actually watch the whole thing for free now. And I've watched it, and I definitely recommend it.
It is, even if you're not real passionate about this topic or it kind of grosses you out or whatever, most of it is very entertaining. Some of it's very funny. A portion of it's disturbing. If you really don't like that part, you could fast forward it, but it's all important information. And Matt Lamb, fantastic work you guys do at the College Fix. He's the associate editor. You can also find him at LifeSite, the Washington